welcome to the Wellness Project with Des. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm really excited to interview my guest today. I'm speaking with Jorge Ochoa. He's an occupational therapist that works with students in special education, and he's the founder and facilitator of TamboRhythms Group Drumming. He's located in San Antonio, Texas. I'm excited to talk with him today because he talks all about how he incorporates group drumming into his occupational therapy, which I'm really excited to learn about because I also work in special education. And I've actually thought about it in the past of incorporating some drumming into my groups. I run social emotional learning groups each week. So I've actually thought about this in the past. Mark is a musician and he just has tons of these little tiny instruments and little drums and everything. So I thought it would be really cool to bring those into my students. And I'm sure after hearing this interview, it's going to inspire me to do that even more. I've had kind of a little drum circle with my two sisters before with our little instruments and my friends' children, and it's so much fun and they love it and they make these songs and it's really a cool experience. So I'm excited to learn about how he actually incorporates this into occupational therapy and the different benefits of group drumming. So that's really cool. He also talks to us about his different mental illnesses. Something I love about George is that he's so open about his struggles and triumphs with mental illness. So he is diagnosed with depression, anxiety, OCD, and he has a stutter as well. So I'm really looking forward to talking to him about his different mental illnesses and how drumming helps him out with those different things and the benefits that he sees in his own life as well as with his students. So I can't wait to dive right in. Let's talk to George. Everyone, I'm so excited. I have here with me today Jorge Ochoa. Thanks so much for joining me today, George.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
George is an occupational therapist working with students in special education, and he's the founder and facilitator of TamboRhythms Group Drumming, which is located in San Antonio, Texas. When did you found the TamboRhythms Group Drumming?
The story behind that really is that really started in a previous school district that I worked in, somewhere around 2007. At the time, I was on the internet and I was looking up just information on drumming, not anything specific to hand drumming, just drumming. I'm originally a drum set player, and then I came across the world of drum circles and hand drumming. It looked so cool to me at the time because of the idea of getting people together that were not musicians and just getting together and having a good time in rhythm and being able to express themselves and being able to release stress and connect with each other. And I just thought that that was so neat. As I continued to look into it some more, I found a program by the name of the Rhythmic Arts Project. It's called TRAP for short. And I looked into that and I really liked it because it was actually a program focused more towards those that have special needs. And of course, me being an occupational therapist in the special ed department and already a drummer, I was like, okay, now this is really, really cool. I went to my special ed director and I asked her if she would buy me the program. And she did. And it came with 10 nice sized drums. It came with a DVD and the curriculum. I learned how to facilitate group drumming through going by going to the special ed classrooms weekly, and I started drumming with the kids in the class with the kids in special ed in their classrooms, and so that's how I learned how to facilitate it. Fast forward to 2008, and I went for some training in a program called a research-based program called Health Rhythms Group Empowerment Drumming, and that was in October, November of 2008. Yes, and I really liked it because it was science behind incorporating drums within a therapeutic type of session. The research behind it showed an increase to the immune system, improved mood states, decreased stress. After I came back from that training, the next month was December 2008, and that's when I decided to actually start TamboRhythms as a side business. So I've been doing this since 2008.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, I just have so many questions for you. So
Mhm.
that's so really cool to me. So before 2007, were you a drummer already?
Yes, I started playing drums in 1989.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, I was 19 years old then. So, and I was also in the high school marching band as well.
Oh,
So,
wow. Can you explain to my listeners what exactly an
mhm.
occupational therapist is?
An occupational therapist is a therapist who helps you to engage into those activities that are meaningful to your life. For instance, those things that you do that occupy your time, that give meaning to your life, those are called occupations. Okay, so whatever we do that we spend on that occupies our time, that's our occupation. Some occupations include play, social participation, rest and sleep, also activities of daily living, which in that realm it includes things like self-care skills, eating, going to the restroom, being able to get dressed, and so forth. So and also education is also an occupation. All those are occupations within the scope of occupational therapy. Now, if you want to bring it more closer to what I do in a school setting, is that as my full time job, I I work with students ages 3 through 21, okay, on their functional and academic skills. Like being able to write, being able to cut, being able to eat, get dressed, go to the restroom, feed themselves. All that within the school context, what they need to do at school in order to have academic and functional success.
Great. And do you work in one school or is it you work at different elementary schools, middle schools, high schools? Because that's a
I
big age range.
Right. I work for a district and I have an occupational therapy assistant. So I'm in charge of, as the therapist, I'm in charge of all the kids, you could say, all the students on our caseload. Okay. But I also have an assistant, and she also sees the kids there too. So
Okay, great.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
also work in a school. I'm a school social worker. I also work in special education. So I work with
Oh,
children.
okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm in a
Okay.
middle school and high school right now.
Okay. Cool.
So I've always
Nice.
thought about actually doing drum circles with our kids. I think they would really enjoy it. And I didn't know about all the benefits to it even. So what made you realize, because I know you were a drummer before, at what
Hmm.
point did you realize you wanted to tie in drumming to occupational therapy? Like how did that idea come about?
Like how I said, I started it in the special ed, more of the self-contained life skills rooms.
Mhm.
The students that have high needs. So I would work with them and see their engagement with their social skills, as well as see how the drumming could also be used to teach them academic skills like counting the syllables of their name, the syllables of basically anything that you could say, then you could play it. When I first started this journey, I really wasn't too confident yet when it comes to the incorporation of music and occupational therapy. So when I first began, I didn't really make the connection that strongly, that strong yet. But when I really sat down and thought about, what am I doing and how does it really fit into OT? So what I did is that I went to the occupational therapy framework that we follow, and then I took a look at it, and then I just saw, okay, where does music making, where does drumming fit in all of this? And then I started seeing, okay, well, first of all, from the basics, from the foundation, you can use music, you can use rhythm, drumming, to address the occupation of play. Of course, play,
Mhm.
and that's for kids and for adults, for all of us, because we all need to play no matter what age we are. Okay,
Yeah.
it addresses the occupation of social participation, which is huge. Okay, of course, also there's an aspect of education. It addresses that as well because you can learn numbers, the syllables, and so forth. The number of sides that a shape may have. Does a shape have three sides? Four sides? So, and of course, we're talking about, of course, the kids that are in in a special ed, of course, trying to deal with those basic skills with them. I see how it addresses those occupations. It also addresses the occupations of health management and maintenance as well. So I was like, okay, there is a place for sure when it comes to music and integrating it within the framework. So I started to take a look at, of course, occupations that it addresses, and then it started to branch out into, okay, I see how it also affects or how it can target sensory motor skills as well. Like, there's so many aspects to it when it comes to, of course, there's vision, there's touch, also what we call proprioception. That means uh, that we know where our bodies are in space, where our limbs are in space. Okay, the vestibular sense, which has to deal with your being able to balance yourself. Like, for instance, when you walk, or when you sway, when you're playing a drum and you really get into the rhythm, your body's going back and forth. And so I'm seeing, okay, there's a lot of sensory skills that are involved there, as well as the use of both hands. So of course, grasping is involved in there, if you use any type of a mallet and so forth. So I was just seeing more and more connection to it. And then I was kind of like sold, and I was like, okay, yes, this is part of OT, and I can use it as part of OT. So that really helped me a lot to kind of gain the confidence that I needed to kind of like run with it, and we really try to build upon it. It has basically now turned into a company where I just don't work with those with special needs, even though that's, you could say, my specialty. But I also do events for the community as well. This last year has been weird for all of us with COVID, but things are beginning to open up now, where I'm beginning to do more things in person. The whole thing with drumming, it is geared, what I do, it is geared for the non-musician. It targets health and wellness, as well as social emotional skills with kids and with those with special needs. And I provide everything, so people don't even have to be concerned about bringing their instruments, because I have everything. So yeah,
Oh, great. That's awesome. It
yeah.
sounds like it fits into OT perfectly.
Yes, and I'm actually a study that I believe came out in 2018, and the American Journal of Occupational Therapy, where group drumming was actually used.
Oh,
So
really?
yes, so that was neat. That was like, yes, that's awesome, awesome. Where they showed that there were increased. It did help those that had anxiety and depression. That really brings it home to me more, also because I deal with anxiety, depression, and obsessive compulsive disorder myself. So I deal with those three things. So yeah, so I'm so glad. I really try to use and push it also as a mental health tool whenever I can. So yes.
And how does drumming help you with your different mental health issues?
Okay, I would say that it is a grounding experience. When you drum, it puts you in the present moment. You're not so concerned about what's going on in the past, nor what's going to happen in the future. But when you really let yourself go and enjoy what you're doing, then you're only in the moment. You allow yourself to be in the moment. And so with the mental illnesses that I deal with, my mind is always, for the most part, it's not really at rest. But when I do drum, my mind is at rest, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
moving and everything, but my mind is at rest. If somebody like, and also when it comes to what it's doing inside of you, when you're drumming, after a while, your body starts to release endorphins, which of course are our feel good hormones that we have. So that also gives you that natural high. And endorphins are good for pain relief, to help your body with pain relief, as well as to help boost your immune system. Just by playing for a while and really allowing yourself to get into it, you know, as you release those, you can feel just a calmness there. And I've had people give me feedback as well, that have gone to my drum circles, on how it has helped them, whether it be with less anxiety, less alone, and more connected.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that you knew that this helped you cope with your different mental health issues and you wanted to share it with other people. That's great.
Yeah, and and it's weird that you should ask me that because for all these years that I've been doing it, I know that it helped me, but I never verbalized what it did for me until I did a recent. I was talking to another therapist, not too long ago. She wanted to know what I was doing with everybody else, right? And then she goes, "Yeah, but what does this do for you?" And in all these years, I never really thought about what it was. I felt what it was doing for me, but I never really discussed what it was doing for me.
Wow.
I was too concerned with what I do. I want to make sure that everybody else has a good time.
It must have been
Yes.
interesting to try to verbalize that experience. I would imagine that would be a little difficult to verbalize.
It was different for me because I had to really think about, like, okay, yeah, so how does it help you, George? I mean, like, I never really sit down and think about that. I always talk about how it can help other people, but
Right.
yes, I mean, after I'm really banging away at it and I go, after I'm done, it's less like the best feeling,
Wow.
so yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's great. Was
yeah.
there a moment when after you brought group drumming into OT with your students, was there a moment that you realized like it hit you and you were like, wow, this is actually like really helping and really working?
Oh, yes, there were several. I have several, you could say, some success stories. One is I was doing a 6-week class in the district that I live in. We have an adult and community education center. And I was having a 6-week class there for kids with special needs and any child 3 years old and older, and also with those that have some type of special need. So I had a young man that was coming every week, a 17-year-old man with autism. His older brother would bring him every week. He would drive him to the class. Now, at the end of the 6 weeks, I usually give out like a feedback form just to see, how everybody felt about the drumming, the class, what they liked about it or what they thought would change, that needed to be changed. And the older brother told he had written down because of the drumming that he thought that his brother with the autism was less socially awkward. So that was like this is awesome. That was like here's a family member that's telling me what's going on beyond what I can see or beyond what was there. You
Right.
know, I remember at school one time I was doing a session with a class, and one of the kids in the class, they were not even one of my students in a sense of receiving OT. But of course, whenever I go into a classroom, I just don't isolate some kids. I mean, they all play, whether you're special ed or gen ed, they all play. So, but this one particular young boy, after we were done playing, he came and he gave me a hug. And the teacher looked at me and looked at him, and she was like, George, you just don't know. Do you know what just occurred? And I go, no. And she said, that she told me this young boy with who also had also had autism. He was standoffish towards men. He did not really like men,
Oh,
and
wow.
he came up on his own by himself, and he initiated a hug.
Wow.
Yes. And
That's
so that was
huge.
huge.
That
Yes.
is.
Talk about breaking down a wall that was there through music. And for him to do this on his own, and I didn't even know. I mean, I didn't know anything about him. Her eyes just got big, and she was like, I don't believe what just occurred. And I was like, what? When she told me that, I was like, that's huge. So I could see the value, not just the connection that people can make, whether you have a special need or not, but also one of the things I really really like about the group drumming is the social emotional skill development that's occurring with the kids. Taking turns, self control, attention span, being able to share, being able to self regulate. And so all those skills are being addressed within the context of play, the occupation of play. Now, for them, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're playing. They're having a good time. They're having fun. But they're learning so many important social skills. And they don't have to know, and that's fine. But I know what's going on, and the parents figure out what's going on after a while. I mean that it's the most rewarding thing that I've done in the 20 years that I've been a therapist, and where it has taken me, and not just for those with special needs. I mean, even with the community. I mean, I have a friend of mine, and she told me she's a counselor as well. She's a licensed professional counselor, and she shared with me that the drumming was a very important part of her cancer treatment.
Oh, wow. How did
So
that help her?
I think when it came to energizing her body, when it came to just again the whole idea that when you drum, it can be calming, it can be energizing. Of course, and like how I said, it can ground you, and of course, when you're dealing with that, I can just imagine with what she was going through, the amount of stress your body and your mind is under trying to fight this. So it's good also to have an outlet that you enjoy. That's what she told me, that it was an important part of her treatment. You know, Endorphins do help to boost the immune system as well. So, we just don't know, what part it had in that. I don't know for sure. I do know that with the program that I facilitate, Health Rhythms, when following it, they took blood samples before and after 1 hour
Oh,
of the session, and then they found a rise in the natural T killer cells.
really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
amazing what drumming can do. And you just don't know. And of course, it has to be something that is meaningful and purposeful for you, because I know that drumming
Right.
isn't for everybody. Some people just don't like it or whatever, and that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
for her, it was important. I once had somebody that said that she was sleeping better at night after we finished the class. She said that she would be home and she would be drumming on everything, and that she
Oh,
was
wow.
and that she was and that she was sleeping better at night too. So it's just all these, just people saying how the class helped them, and so forth. So
That's awesome. And I had no idea how many benefits that drumming had until I looked at your website. I mean, you talk about the social emotional learning benefits, you talk about the fine and gross motor skill benefits.
mhm.
I mean, the benefits are, it seems like endless, and I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean there is so much that's involved, and I do like it because again you get the benefits like overall health and wellness, decrease stress, decrease anxiety. It can help to release and manage anger. It can improve your mood. You can feel like you belong, like a group accepts you. And you're doing all of this, but you don't really have to think about it. You
Mhm.
just have to like just let yourself go, let yourself be, and just see where it takes you. So that's the most important thing. Is whenever I do a drum circle, I have an idea in my mind as to where I want it to go, but I never know where it's really gonna go. Because it's we will see where the group takes this. So yeah. Oh yeah,
Wow.
there's a lot that can be said about it. So
That's awesome. I love that. And that's something, music, like how you said, maybe it's not for everybody. Not everybody loves drumming or whatever, but music is kind of universal and unites us
yes.
all in a way. And, globally, like anywhere you go, people are singing, making music. So I'm sure
Right.
it definitely speaks to a lot of people.
Oh yeah, and then especially since there's more and more science that's being done. And so I like seeing the science as it comes out, showing the benefits of just being involved in, whether it's a community group type of setting, or just kind of just drumming for yourself.
Yeah.
Just trying to do something that's healthy and safe.
Absolutely. And just how you mentioned too, that it's good to release anger. I can imagine this being so perfect for little kids in elementary school or even middle school that have this pent up anger and want to release it in a healthy, positive way. Like that's such a great option that I didn't think about.
Yes, and I actually first learned about that firsthand when I used to do a drum circle at this place that was called Trace House, and it was for those that had an acquired or traumatic brain in injury. And so one of the participants there, their newspapers went there to do a story about the drumming, and as the reporter was speaking to him, he said it is better to let your anger out on a drum instead of on somebody else.
Right.
And this is somebody that was dealing with a brain injury or had dealt with one. At least he knew where to direct that emotion where it would be a more accepted and, of course, fine way of doing it, which would be on the drum instead of hitting somebody else. You would just hit on the drum.
Absolutely. Or even like a wall or something, and a lot of kids, they hurt themselves that way, punching walls and hitting walls and things like that. So that's really great. And I'm sure, like you said, with the social emotional learning, you're teaching little kids that like this is a good thing to hit. Like this is a positive thing to hit. So that's great.
Exactly, exactly.
What is the biggest group drumming circle you've had?
I think, to be honest with you, I believe it was a year ago, around February of last year, right before COVID closed everything down. It was like a couple of weeks, I think, before. And I think
Wow.
there was, yeah, it was at a this place called the Tobin Theater of the Performing Arts. I think there were like maybe 200, 250.
Really?
Yeah, I can email you the video
Oh,
of
I
the
would
clip of it.
love I would
Yeah,
love to see that, and I'll link it in the
yeah,
show notes.
that I believe that was probably the biggest I ever did.
Wow, that is
That was
not the
that was
number I
huge.
thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say like
Oh,
80, 50. Like, wow.
yeah, that was. I don't do that often. I don't. I think that was the first time I ever did anything that big before. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was interesting. I am back at the same place this Saturday. I'm back there, but with the way things are right now, it's only a max of 30.
Okay.
Only a max of
Gotcha.
30 people right now. So, and that's good. I'm fine with 30. I don't have to have a.
Yeah, that must be a lot of energy for 200 people.
I love the playing, but cleaning up afterwards
Oh
and putting
gosh.
everything back,
That's a
and
lot of
especially,
drums.
yeah, and I use a mixture of drums and percussion like shakers. So I just don't use all drums, right? But especially now, I disinfect everything
Oh,
afterwards.
okay. So
So of course
that's
that's
a
going to
big
take
job.
even that much more time. Right, exactly. So
What do you drive? How do you fit those in your car?
I drive a Toyota Corolla.
How many trips is that?
Okay, no, no. Well, for that particular trip, okay, for that particular one, I was at the center for 2 nights. So one night was a drum lesson class,
Okay.
and I took a whole bunch of drums that night. Then the second night, I took the rest of the drums. And so getting them back home, my sister went. So I put like half the drums in her car and half the drums in mine,
Wow.
and then she took them and I took. Yeah, so that's how that worked out. But I usually but the drums that I have, I don't use like huge ones. I really
Mhm.
don't. I use smaller ones that are compact, more compact. Some of them are frame drums that you can nest inside of each other, so they're smaller. So I can put a lot of those in my car. But when it comes to
Mm.
I don't use the big ones, hardly. I haven't used those in a long time. And also everything that I use now, other people are playing. They are synthetic. I can wipe them down when we're done. Whereas if I have a traditional type of drum, that might have an animal skin on it, or made out of wood, you can't do it that way. You can't wipe it down with something like that, because then you'll mess up the body or the head. So I do use synthetic for that reason. You just take the wipe, you can wipe everything down, and then it makes it easy to go from there. So
Oh, gotcha. Great. And
yeah.
how many drums do you own?
Oh my gosh. Uh,
I
20.
would
Okay,
love to see
20.
your house.
Yeah, 20 plus 12 plus 5 plus I don't got a lot.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, a lot. My son's closet. He's tired of my drums being in there. It's like I have so many. I mean, It's a lot of drums. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of drums and percussion, hand percussion. So
Do
yeah.
you hold regular group drumming sessions? Are there like if somebody was in the air in your area, do you have
Okay.
regular
Yeah.
weekly things, events?
Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, I do. I have a drum. It's called expressive therapeutic rhythm session. Okay, which is basically a drum circle, and that's once a month. It's right now it's the first Saturday of the month. Okay, and it's for the community, so all ages can come. And I also and you can and people can find out what I'm doing either through if they go to the TamboRhythms Facebook group and join that group, they can find out what I'm doing or go on at TamboRhythms on Instagram as well. So they can
Awesome.
find me there. Yeah. So I usually put my events on those two platforms. And because of COVID now, I've started doing more things through either Facebook Live, like for instance, if somebody wants to play along with me, I try to do something every week. It'll be either on Facebook Live or the Instagram Live. So it'll be either one that
Okay.
but I always try to post like I think I'm gonna go back and forth. Like one week I'll do Facebook and then one week I'll do the other and then go back and forth like that. Or if somebody wants to contact me because they want to do a group for themselves or whatever, then we can do it, over Zoom, and so something like that would work out.
Oh, great. That's awesome. And I'll put
Yeah,
all of your social medias in my show notes so that people can find you. That's really cool.
we all have learned a lot this past year when we were not expecting this health, with the pandemic and everything. We've learned a lot, especially now with Zoom. I know Zoom
We're
just took off.
experts now.
Oh my gosh, yes. So I'm glad that I have been able to do things like this because I've been able to meet people from all over the world. Like I had a drum circle where I think I had somebody from Brazil showed up on there.
Wow.
Somebody from in India, she showed up from there. As a matter of fact, last I think 2 weeks ago, I did a podcast or a YouTube video with somebody from across the world. I mean, it's amazing how this is beginning to work now. So that's the best thing that has come out of all of this is just being able to connect with people from all over.
I agree
You know,
100%. It's so cool talking to people from other areas of the world and other countries. And I feel like it's united us in a different way. And like now, session, like you're able to reach so many more people, which is really amazing.
I never even knew about it until last March. I mean, when everything shut down, I was like, okay, so what is this Zoom thing?
Wow. We'll definitely add that
Quite a
to your
journey.
resume.
Yeah, man, what a year.
So that's
Wow.
really cool though. I love that. I'm definitely going to check out your lives. That's really cool. So anybody that's interested in getting into drumming, getting into group drumming, where do you recommend they go to buy their own drum if they wanted to do that?
If you have a music store where you live, you can go and ask to. Usually, the type of drum that is most often used in a drum circle is the djembe drum, which is a West African type drum. I would go to your nearest store and ask to see a djembe, and that's spelled Djembe. My recommendation though is that I would get a mechanically tuned one that has like nuts and bolts that you can just tune with a wrench of some type. Okay, the ones with the rope, they're beautiful, but trying to tune the drum head with that rope, for me, that's something I don't want to mess with. I would rather just use a key like a tuning wrench or something and just, do it that way. You can do that. If you put in Djembe, if you go to Amazon, I mean, you get a whole bunch that come up
Oh,
there,
great.
so yeah, the limit is endless. I mean, there is no limit. You will have tons of options. If you get one for yourself, you may want to buy a more traditional one if you want to buy one that has like a wood body and a goat skin head, because they're nice and they sound good. But with those, you have to be careful because those are more sensitive to temperature and humidity.
Okay.
So yeah, so you have to be careful with those type of drums, leaving them in your car in the heat and
Mm.
so forth, because it can crack the head of the drum. I mean, yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay.
tear the head of your drum. Even though the authentic drums are beautiful, okay, but you have to take care of them better. They can't withstand the weather as much.
Gotcha. And I would never think that because, you're banging and pounding on a drum. I would never think that you have to take, careful care of it. So that's
Yeah,
definitely good to know.
because the one I have right now, I could take the one that I have in front of me right now. I know the audience can't see, but I can go outside and play this in the rain, in the snow,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas you can't do that with another one, a one that has wood on it. You could, but you're gonna mess the drum up. So
Right.
yeah.
Definitely
Mhm.
something you want to
Yeah.
take care of. So, well, I have one last question for you, and I don't know if it's a dumb question or not, but because I'm not a music person, I don't know that much about music. But I saw on your
Hmm.
website you talk about recreational rhythm making. Is that the same or different than the group drumming?
Drumming can be seen as as recreational rhythm making. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's just a different way of explaining it, but it's the same. The concept is the same. When you talk about a drums circle, it doesn't always mean that every person in the group is going to be playing a drum. But of course, the drum is kind of like is goes the main beat, the heartbeat of the groove. But then you have some other instruments. People may have sticks. Some people may have bells, shakers, and everything. And that makes it even that much more fun. Because you have all these different sounds in it. So yeah, so you can use those terms. I change them around. Like
Okay.
I will say, therapeutic drumming. There, I'll use that term. I don't use the term music therapy because I'm not a music therapist, and so that is a specific field. People who see me do this, if they don't know, they might call it music therapy or call me a music therapist, and I will say no, I'm just an occupational therapist that uses drumming in a therapeutic way. So I
Gotcha.
try to,
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense. George, this was
yes.
absolutely amazing. This was fascinating. I loved talking to you and learning more about group drumming. This was really cool.
Thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate the time. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I was really interested in kind of combining group drumming into my job with special education students. So we actually finish in 2 weeks. So maybe I'll try that next year.
Just so that you know, for you and for those and for the audience, if you go to my YouTube channel, Tambo Rhythms, there's actually a free 15-minute social emotional drumming session that I did there that you can play
Oh,
along to, or you can play with your kids, and you all can play along to it.
oh, I love that.
I can email that to you as well. And there's also a 25-minute video that you can play along to, or just lay down and play it to help you to relax. One of the things that we did not talk about is that if you were to play a rhythm at 60 beats per minute, okay, which is what the video is set at, 60 beats per minute. After, like, let's say 20 to 30 minutes, you will increase your brain's alpha waves, which are those brain waves that we associate with calming.
Oh, okay.
So there's a video there for that too. And what you can do also is that you can also download a metronome on your phone and set it to 60 beats per minute and then play along to it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I
That's
love
another way to
those
do it.
tips. That's great. So I've
Yeah.
heard
So.
things about the per minute kind of thing, but I've never really understood it. So that's
Mhm.
really cool. That's really interesting. I've heard things about it here and there, but I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, you will. I mean, it's amazing what it can do. I had a friend of mine. I sent her the video, and while she was talking to me, she was playing the video in the background. As she spoke to me, she was falling asleep.
Oh, so don't listen while you're driving.
Funny. So
Oh, that is really funny. That's cool. I can't wait
yeah,
to try this with my students next year. Thank you for all those tips. That's so great.
not a problem. I will send the links your way right after we're done. once again.
Awesome.
So
And everyone, I'm going to have all those links and George's, all his social media in the
mm,
show notes. Definitely go check out his lives, and I can't wait to see them as well. Thank you, George, so much.
thank you.
Well, was that a great interview or what? Oh my gosh, I loved talking to George. It was such an interesting interview. I love when I go into an interview not knowing that much about a topic and I come out just knowing a ton and I've learned a lot. I learned so much talking to George. I had no idea about the 60 beat per minute and things like that. Like, so cool. That's so fascinating to me. Like I said in the interview talking with George, I think it's such a great thing to incorporate drumming into occupational therapy and social emotional learning groups like I run, because music is something that unites people on a global level. Anywhere you go, I mean, we recently were in Puerto Rico and there was just music blasting everywhere. And there were literally people just dancing in the streets. And then it got us moving and put us in a good mood. And I just think that's really cool and something really great that everybody can relate to. And I can't even imagine all the benefits that it has on children in his different groups and in his occupational therapy. That's really cool. And it was so fascinating as well as encouraging to hear of all the benefits that group drumming does have on people, all the positive effects. So that's really awesome. If you're interested in learning more about drumming or checking out George's lives or getting your own drums, I'm going to link everything into the show notes. So make sure you check those out and join George's Facebook group and follow him on Instagram so that you can follow all the cool things he's doing and join his group drumming lives. So thank you so much, George. This was such a great interview. I really enjoyed talking to you. And thanks for teaching me all about group drumming. I really enjoyed it. And I can't wait to watch you live on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening today. Make sure you sign up for my email list. I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Make sure you sign up because I always put out a lot of PDFs and free cheat sheets that you can download from the email. So make sure you get on that so you're not missing out on anything. Again, the link is in the show notes. Make sure you sign up. I will talk to you in 2 weeks with our next episode. We have amazing guests coming. Like I've mentioned, we have about 30 incredible interviews coming up. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And this summer, like I mentioned before, I'm going to post mostly every week. So definitely look out for that every Thursday morning. All right. Until next time, have a great, calming, and peaceful week.